Hey everyone, welcome back to Code of the Row. In this video, we're going to be going over the limited time free assets now available until June 17th, 10 a.m. Eastern. So let's go ahead and just check these out. So you're going to see there are some three really cool new assets. One is the Brushify environment of the Desert Mountains pack, the Ultimate Spell System, which is a whole new project, and this is also multiplayer friendly, and Sci-Fi Troopers collection. So let's go ahead and add these, buy these, and they're all free for the next 2 weeks. And let's go ahead and open these up in an Unreal Engine project. So now after opening this up and checking it out in the engine, I'm just going to go ahead and hit play and you'll see these cool looking trooper characters, pretty realistic. You can see the reflection off their materials, looks really nice, and they're different styles. So you have this dark blue one, this red one, and this greenish one, as well as this yellow base model. And overall, really cool. It is rigged to the Epic Skeleton. And let's just check this controller's example map. So when I hit play, let's see what happens here. So it's just going to say tab to change spawn, mouse wheel to zoom. So I can just use WASD to move around, spacebar to jump. So yeah, the default mannequin stuff, and then clicking tab, camera zooms into the next character nicely. And I can pretty much just rotate, and you can kind of see how different materials are applied to these different types of characters. So here's a white spacesuit guy. This one kind of looks like a Helldiver themed one. And yeah, overall, really cool asset. It's kind of funny that I can just leave them up and just leave them in the air like this. And I can just go over. So you can see all these like the glowing effects on the suits. And then over here, we got the glowing girls. And yeah, that pretty much covers this asset. Let's go ahead and check out that Brushify one. All right, so with the Brushify map opened, you can see that there are some pretty realistic desert terrains, some procedural rocks, and so on. And you'll see that if you actually level this out, it's a very flat surface. And underneath, it's kind of revealing all the procedural stuff that was generated with the land. And you'll see that this terrain material itself is very realistic looking. And it's actually just a simple material structure with really nice normals. And you can also modify exactly how you want to create your land with. And as you can see, there's some alpha brushes, distance stuff. So you can see the materials over here along with the textures. And here's where you see the normals, for example, of this texture for Desert Mountain 2, for this one, for example. And when you just double click to open this up, you'll see that it is just simply using this Brushify distance mesh material with this normal mapping over here and so on. And yeah, overall, a really, really cool asset. Really like how this terrain looks. Looks very realistic. And Brushify is very well known. So if you don't have this, at least you got to get it for free. And next up is the Ultimate Spell System. And this is also multiplayer friendly and it is replicated. One thing to note is when you open the levels of this pack, you're only going to see this third person map and it's going to come out as a blank screen like this. What I had to do was just right click, create a new level, and I called it test. And then I changed the game mode override to BP Spell System. And that's pretty much all I did. So when I go ahead and hit play, you're going to see this character spawns. It shows a part of my user, so it knows code with row, for example. Gives me a bunch of a serialized ID for my connection and my level, and it just says I'm neutral. So I can go ahead and click 1 so we can showcase these spells. It's going to shoot this spell in the target that I'm facing, and then I'll click 2, and you'll see this other kind of spell, which is some kind of like big ball of particles shooting straight forward. And then 3 is a disc that shoots in the direction that I'm facing. And you can see that my upper body blend is a little odd. And that's just because I guess it just makes it more player friendly. And then 4, let's see what this is. This is the bubble, so I get some sort of shield. And then let's check 5 is, I actually don't know what that is. Maybe a heal or something because of the green particles. And then 6, okay, I had to compile those shaders, so it looked really laggy there. Let's try let's try that again. I think it's like a slam on the ground and then some things appear. So 6 is gonna, my character's gonna jump, hit the ground, and this AoE thing appears. And yeah, overall really cool spells. And then if I click E, I level up to 19 already. And then I can keep clicking it and you'll see my levels accumulating. I can click R to remove my XP. Okay, so it's actually decreasing my XP. And it won't let me go below that 0 threshold, as you can see in the yellow bar on the bottom. And yeah, overall, really cool asset, especially if you're trying to learn how to create something like this. I know there's quite a few people who want to make an MMO. This is actually not a bad starting template because it does show you what actor components you will need to make to make a system like this, as well as how to connect a spell system to a UI. And you can see my mana regen kind of quick, and I'm sure that's just for purposes, testing purposes. And if I just Alt Tab to show my mouse, you can see my leveling up. I'm just clicking these plus signs. I'm just clicking these plus signs to level it all up to the max. And I don't know if they're going to show anything different. All right, so visually, it's not anything different. I guess that's expected for MMOs. Looks the same, but it will just do more damage and so on. So let's go ahead and actually look at these characters. So when I open up my BP third person character, you're going to see it has the spell system component and the BP player leveling system. And you will see that in the event graph. So here it is. There's the damage. So everything up here is the default third person. So down here is where the damage takes place. Using the actual spell system, it's just hard coded into these keybinds, and this is just for testing purposes. Of course, you would want to use input mappings for these. And then it's going to say cast spell to the server. Server will be the authority. And then the leveling system is over here. So E just adds experience. R removes experience. T is rank points. Okay, and then Y is remove rank points. Okay. And then we can just right click on these components, see how it's made. Click on edit, for example. It's going to take you to the actual. So this is the BP player leveling system, and pretty complex, especially since it's all done in BP. So it's going to set the player name and so on. And then you'll see just a ton of things that you can do, such as spawning the Nagra for the spells, widget visibility, and yeah, just a lot done in order to make the system. I highly recommend checking it out. So let's go ahead and take a look at the spell system component. So let's go ahead and click edit to open this really quick. It'll start the cooldown, play the montage, spell charging, and so on. And you can see if I zoom out, there's a lot going on. So it's going to say spawn spell, spell charging, cast spell, regen, mana regen, health regen, and so on. There's just a ton of things going on. And yeah, overall, a really, really cool system to look into. Highly recommend checking that out. That pretty much covers the limited time free assets. You have 2 weeks to claim it. And thanks for watching Critters Row. Like, subscribe, comment below what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.